Mutations are sometimes otherworldly and sanity blasting, but every now and then, a creature is spared the horrors of the irradiated world and only slightly altered. Roaches, dogs and rats for example, and in this particular case, the bloatfly. But what is a bloatfly? Why are they so annoying? And what are they shooting at us? A bloatfly is a giant mutated fly suspected to belong to the Tabinus, a genus of biting horsefly. These flies are true flies, down to them having only one pair of wings and one pair of halteras, a balancing organ, which bloatflies do have, meaning they too are true flies. Sadly, other than appearances, the compound eyes, antennae, thorax and abdomen, the similarities fall short. The one thing that horseflies are known for is biting, using their scissor-like mouthparts to cut through flesh and drink blood, releasing an anticoagulant while they do to prevent the blood from clotting. This is something that bloatflies are unable to do due to their size. They are simply too big to get close enough and feed without being detected, and have since evolved to feed in a different manner, which I will explain in just a moment. All male horseflies feed on pollen. The reason female horseflies drink blood is because they need it to produce eggs. Eggs which they will then lay on stones or vegetation near water in clusters up to 1,000, something bloatflies have also evolved to no longer do, since they struggle to obtain that initial drink of blood. To counteract the feeding and breeding problem, bloatflies have evolved to no longer need blood to produce eggs. In fact, they appear to have done away with laying eggs altogether, and instead rear their larvae inside their abdomen, and this is where things get weird. Because bloatflies are unable to feed, their size is simply too big to feed off any living creature worth hunting, they have evolved to rely on their larvae, which they fire in a projectile-like manner at their prey. These mature larvae latch on using a barbed stinger and burrow beneath the skin. Unlike the parent sting, which is noticeable and irritating, the larvae release a neurotoxin which incapacitates even the largest of wasteland creatures. Once the prey can no longer defend itself, the mother takes her turn feeding on the still living creature. Meanwhile, her larvae will do the same until reaching maturity and emerging as adult bloatflies. This neurotoxin is practically harmless to humans, but can lead to localized necrosis if left unchecked. Fortunately, most wastelanders have access to doctors and surgeons and avoid sharing the same fate with the less intelligent creatures. The life cycle of the bloatfly is a strange one. We know they no longer lay eggs, instead beginning life as a larvae flying through the air towards a target. Those that miss likely perish, while those that find their way to a host live and consume. The next step would typically be the pupa, but we do not see any pupa, yet they are mentioned in an Enclave research terminal. After dissecting a bloatfly, they found still living pupa stored inside the stinger. Either this is an oversight on their part and what they call pupa are in fact larvae, or the bloatfly has the ability to store both simultaneously. However, I don't think that's the case, and it is merely an oversight. The larvae develop into pupa inside the host before emerging as adults to continue the life cycle. Surprisingly, wastelanders have taken to consuming bloatfly meat. Of course, this is only in dire situations where food is scarce, with some managing to even eat it raw, but more often than not, it is cooked into sliders and loaves that honestly don't look any more appetizing. Their larvae have also been used by humans, but not in the way you may think. Instead of using the grubs as fish bait or rearing them for meat, they can instead be weaponized. By taking a bloatfly gland where the larvae are stored, it can be crafted in such a way, using glass and psycho, to create a type of ammunition for the syringer. The crazy thing about this is while the projectile does about as much damage as a bloatfly, there is a 10% chance that an adult bloatfly will spawn from the corpse if they die within 30 seconds of getting hit. Due to the inclusion of Psycho, it isn't an accurate depiction of their life cycle, but does show that their developmental stage from larvae to adult can be rapidly increased with certain chems. If bloatflies weren't disgusting enough, there is talk of a legendary bloatfly lurking in the bowels of a mysterious cave, as large as a Cavega and basked in a glowing green aura. Unlike the much smaller bloatflies, this legendary creature is able to fire a powerful plasma-like projectile from its abdomen, that of which is unmatched in terms of damage by almost all other creatures. Even in death, the bloatfly is dangerous, exploding into a deadly green mist. Its origins are unknown, but due to the location of the cave, which is in the region of Big Mountain, a place known for sick and twisted experiments, the bloatfly is suspected to be the precursor to Gabe, another overly sized creature fed Buffout and Psycho by Dr. Boris. There is a little makeshift lab on the upper ledge of the cave, and searching the remains of the bloatfly reveals a significant amount of both Buffout and Psycho, giving the theory a little more than happenstance. So bloatflies are true flies. They are the mutated descendants of biting horseflies. They have evolved to hunt in a different way due to their size, now relying on their larvae to take down prey. They no longer lay their eggs in clusters or rely on blood to reproduce. On the surface, these flies appear to be nothing more than a common pest, but after a closer look, they are so much more. Be sure to show your support by liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already for more Fallout content. If there's anything you would like to see in a later video, leave a comment and I'll see what I can do. With that said, thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.